thanks, Sugadev. So then, after that, then you break it down, and so there are two parts to break it down to. One is the footwork, and the footwork is very simple. Sugadev, would you like to just do the footwork? So you get everybody to do the footwork along with you, and it's better if everybody's facing the same direction, because in the beginning people are going to be taking their cue from looking at you. So if you turn your back to the camera, Sugadev, so everybody will be looking and they'll be following. So when you're starting on your right foot, they're starting on the right foot. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So then you count it out. Let's start, Sugadev. Let's start again. And the way you count it out. So just the footwork. Just the footwork. So you count it out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2. So then that's the end one there. There's Sugadev. So how do I get that counting? Anybody? It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. How does that counting make sense? Anybody?
It's easier if we can see it with the arms. The arms go down 1, 2, 3, up for 2, and
That's
on the
it.
other side,
That's right. That's right. That's
down
why.
2, 3, up for 2,
That's
front, down, top, back for 2, top.
yeah. So down. That's right. So so it makes a distinction between going down and coming back. That's correct. So we counted out just doing the steps. We counted out a few times. We counted out 3 times, say, just doing the steps, and then we counted out just doing the body movements. So Sukadev, you can do it a little bit faster and without the feet, but just at the end of the round, we'll do 3 rounds, and at the end of the round, do the 1, 2 with the feet. But otherwise, you're just doing the body movement. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Begin. 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So you do the 1, 2 with the feet. Okay, so it'll be right, left. The 1, 2 is going to be the 1, 2 will be right, left.
Dada, can I give some, say the way I do it, the chant is right, 2, 3, up, top, left, 2, 3, up, top, front, toes, top, back, 2, top.
Okay, that's another way of doing it. But I'm going to stick with this way. It's the
Okay,
one
sorry.
I'm more used to. I don't think there's that much difference between. Okay, Sukadev, let's go again with the body movement. Just doing the body, but at the end of the round, you're going to go 1, 2, and the 1, 2 is right, left. That's it. Okay. So we'll do 3 rounds this time, just doing the body movement. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 0. Okay. So you'll find that by the time you've broken it down and everybody's done a few rounds of just doing the feet and then just doing the body work, some people will be already getting it when you put it all together. So usually everybody's got it by the third or fourth class. Some people find it quite challenging. They find the coordination quite challenging, but you just have to give them a little bit more time, and maybe if they need it, break it down again for them. Okay, so next week we'll go into the massage after asanas, but we're going to go straight into the today's topic, which is Yama Niyama. Can you still hear me way back here?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, would anybody like to tell me just in a sentence what is Yama Niyama? So don't bother with the hands up on the screen because I can't see it from here. So just anybody help yourself.
The moral principles and foundations of yoga
Excellent.
that
Yeah.
are internal observances and external observances of Yama and Yama, 5 and 5.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So just a word about explaining the Yama and Yamas. First of all, why would you need a moral code? What's the relevance to yoga of having a moral code or an ethical code?
Data for me, to take any of the other steps in Ashtanga yoga, having those moral principles gives more, I think you've written it here anyway, directional guidance of the mind in our own mind and how we express that to the objective reality that we're living in. So it's a helpful in that direction of keeping our mind calm, because if mind has it's like the wavelength. If it's got obstructions, the mind can't adjust to the wavelength of calmness that we're trying to achieve. So it spends too much energy wasting its time because it gets the mind can get irritated if it's not in that moral flow or yeah.
Yeah, very good. So I'm emphasizing because we're doing this to become teachers. The aim is that everybody should be competent to teach meditation classes. So what people remember from your class is what makes an impression, and the things that make an impression are stories and metaphors. They make the most impression. So give me a little metaphor for the difference between following a moral code or having an ethical code and not having one. I gave one. I'll just cite the one I gave in the notes there. It's like if you're in a little boat in the middle of the ocean. There's all kinds of forces in play. There's the weather, the wind, the rain. There's the ocean currents. There's the waves. So all of these energies are impacting you and your little boat. So not having any guiding principles in your life is like being at the mercy of all of those random energies. And that's the way life is. We are subjected to so many. There's so much messaging out there in the environment, and none of it really has any value or any benefit for us. So following a code of ethics is like having some kind of direction in your boat, having a sail and a steering mechanism, having oars and having a direction and being able to make progress towards that direction. So that's the importance, that's the value of following a moral code. So then, all right, so what is the first principle? We'll go through the principles of Yama. First one. Anybody?
Ahimsa.
Ahimsa, right, excellent. So, quick explanation of ahimsa.
Not to harm others by thoughts, words, and actions.
Right. And there's a little corollary to that one, in that sometimes, like a lot of different words from yoga, from Sanskrit, they find their way into English. Yoga, guru, pundit, all of these words. So ahimsa, sometimes people have heard that word, but if they have, it's usually in the context of Mahatma Gandhi, because that's how people have heard about ahimsa in the West, through movies like Gandhi, the Gandhi movie. And Gandhi's interpretation of ahimsa was a very extreme interpretation. He interpreted it as absolute non-violence. And so you could, if you want, you could clarify that although the principle of ahimsa is not to cause harm to any living being in thought, word, or action, it's not against the spirit of ahimsa to use force to defend or to prevent harm. Okay, so what is the next one up?
Satya,
Satya,
which is
right. Yeah.
to tell the truth
Right.
and to act with integrity.
Okay, so yeah, in a broader sense, it's the benevolent use of words, and that includes truthfulness. But there is a just to demonstrate how the two might part company, the spirit of benevolence and the spirit of absolute truthfulness. If somebody were to come to the door and with a weapon, and obviously with the intent of harming somebody, and asked you, is that person in? Even if they are in, the spirit of benevolence would require you to say, no, they're not here, because that's where the spirit of benevolence and absolute truthfulness part company. So really what it's telling us in a proactive sense is that before you use words, take a moment to tune your mind to the intent of goodwill that is behind every moment of existence. There, I just did it. So that's Satya. Then third one up. Asteya. What's Asteya?
Non-stealing.
Non-stealing, right. So again, it's pretty black and white, but people need to understand that there are grey areas, of course. So I usually illustrate the point of Asteya by giving an example that, say, if you've got your own business, and at the end of the year you're doing your accounts, and there's plenty of opportunity to underdeclare your earnings and overdeclare your expenses, and in that way you can save tax. So you find yourself doing that. It's a kind of a natural reaction, but then because you're following a moral code, a red flag goes up automatically, and you think, oh, hang on a second, what's going on here? Is my energy flowing into a channel of opportunism? and digging that channel deeper, and then in future, every time I come to this kind of situation, my energy will automatically flow in that direction, and I won't even, without me even having a chance to think about it. So maybe I should step back a little bit and think this through again. And so you might reflect on it for a couple of moments and think, no, I should pay the tax, and you do everything properly, and that takes care of it. But you might also think, but I don't like what the government is doing with my money. I don't agree with the war or whatever it is. So then I'd have to think it through another step. I'd have to think, okay, so then what should I do with this money that I save on taxes? And if you find that you were going to upgrade your entertainment center or something like that, then you would find that would not be an appropriate use of those funds. So you'd have to think it through to, okay, I should support such and such a charity or whatever. That would be an appropriate use of those funds. So then you've thought it through, and the important thing is that you're square with your ethics. There are two different results here, but the important thing is that you have brought mindfulness to bear on the situation, and you've resolved the situation in keeping with your ethics, and so you can move ahead. And that's what the whole of Yama Niyama is about. You know our pratik. You've got the upward pointing triangle and the downward pointing triangle. So that's like Yama Niyama. So the upward pointing triangle is like Yama, and the downward pointing one is like Niyama. And the two of them they're in that balanced relationship. And so what that configuration of energy, what it implies is that when I configure my energy effectively like this, by keeping my energy in this configuration, by following Yama Niyama, then I can move effectively in this configuration. I can move effectively through life towards my goal. So the pratik is a useful symbol for Yama Niyama, because it's obviously a symbol, and it's an old symbol, and it really does, when you boil it down, it really does represent Yama Niyama. And you can see that it is a configuration of energy. It's a jantra, so it's a very good symbol for Yama Niyama. So symbols, metaphors, stories, these are very good. People remember these things. All right, next up, how would you explain brahmacharya? It's okay, you can just whatever you understand by it, that's fine.
To me, it's about having right relationship. It's not just sexual abstinence. It's having right relationship with people around you.
Okay, so I find in outside of Ananda Marga, the understanding of brahmacharya is celibacy. But in Ananda Marga, that isn't the explanation of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means remembering that everything is an expression of Brahma. So somehow, somewhere along the line, it got narrowed down into a sexual context, but I think that was not the original context or understanding. So basically what brahmacharya means in our explanation is that we're living in this world, and this world is an expression of the same cosmic consciousness that I'm an expression of. And the whole game plan of life is to waken me up to the presence of that limitless consciousness in everything. And so what that means to my life is that every moment of my life there are opportunities to wake me up to that understanding. And that is actually the intention of the universe, is to provide those opportunities for me. So when I go out with my antenna up, when I go out with the declaration of intent that I want to be awakened, I want to find you everywhere, so please reveal yourself, then life becomes much more fascinating, much more interesting, much more meaningful. So brahmacharya means to actively go out there with that in mind. And it's not just when you're sitting in meditation, but the whole of your life, even the most mundane little instance. And if you monitor yourself and monitor your practice of brahmacharya over the next week, I'm sure that you will find you'll be able to come back with instances where even the most mundane thing, the most mundane interaction of your everyday life suddenly lit up with, in some secret way, that could only really be a communication directly to you from that consciousness. So magic happens when you go out there with brahmacharya. And
Dada, is it the same as second lesson?
yeah. So second lesson is it's a formal kind of actual practice of brahmacharya. It's applying the ideation of brahmacharya before any kind of interaction, before engaging with anything, before eating, before getting up and going out, before getting in your car and going off somewhere, so that everything is brought within the scope of that realization of Brahma.
And another couple of tools to help is bath mantra, Pitri Pushpadama, Rishidivadama, and the other one is namaskar, which is really important. So
Oh yeah.
namaskars, I salute you from
Yeah.
all the charms of my mind and all the love and cordiality of my heart. But it's acknowledging the Brahma, the Baba, that consciousness that resides within everybody.
So do you want to do that again with the gesture, so that we can all see what is actually the full scope of namaskar?
So namaskar, so I sit to that divine consciousness within you from all the charms of my mind and all the love and cordiality of my heart. So it's that acknowledging that consciousness, that Brahma that resides in everything, with all the good thoughts, the positive thoughts, the microvita, and the love and cordiality, that microvita that sits from here up. Yeah.
Great.
And the bath mantra, Dada, do we
Actually, maybe we can have another session just for these other things, but we've got to move along. But it's a very good point. So what comes next, brahmacharya? Then what have we got? A parigraha. Anybody like to have a go at that? A parigraha.
Having non-possessiveness or a lack of greed, an attachment towards physical possessions.
Yeah. So basically adjusting with the minimum requirements. And so Yama Niyama can't tell you what your minimum requirements are, but what a parigraha tells you is that you should develop an instinct for what are your minimum requirements. And once you have that, once you develop that consciousness, then you're not buffed about by all of the messaging that's that's coming from all directions every time you walk out in the street or switch on your computer. Your mind isn't automatically drawn into engagement with it, because you already know. I don't know if has anybody watched Dog Whisperer, Caesar Milan? You familiar with that? It's a reality TV program where this guy, he has a very special way of training dogs, and it's all based on very simple principles of dog psychology, but it seems like it's a very good metaphor for the mind, because the dog can easily become obsessive about something. Like, usually he's called in to deal with problem dogs, like the owner can't take the dog for a walk because as soon as the dog sees another dog, it tries to tear off and attack the dog. So what Caesar does is he takes the dog for a walk, and he deliberately sets up that situation where the dog has all of that stimulation, and so he just as soon as the dog shows signs of getting into that excited state, he has a special way of tapping the dog. It's like the way dogs communicate with each other. It's almost like a bite or something, but it's not like that. It's not like clamping on a bite, but it's just a touch to shock the dog out of that state. So that's what aparigraha does. It allows us to be in a calm state of mind, and our consciousness not to be agitated by so many other vibrational enticements in our environment. We know what we need, and we're satisfied with that, and we're able to move ahead. Okay, so that's Jama. Then moving along to Niyama, the 5-point Saucha. So Saucha, there's internal and external. Internal Saucha, there's the cleanliness of the mind. Whatever you see goes into your mind, whatever you hear. So exercising some discretion about what you see, what you hear. Then there's the internal cleanliness of the body, exercising some discretion about what you eat. What are the effects of those things that you put into your body? And then there's external cleanliness of the body. Obviously, it's a very different feeling to be in a clean body than to be in a sticky, sweaty body. And there's external cleanliness of the environment, which reflects directly into the consciousness. So next comes Santosha. Santosha means contentment. And this is the deep sort of contentment that overrides everything else. So life is like a roller coaster. There's ups and downs, and it's natural to feel elated when things are going well and to feel down when things aren't going well. But what Santosha is saying is that overriding all that, to cultivate our connection with that sense that my life is being supported by the benevolence of this limitless consciousness, and my life is being led towards enlightenment. So that's where my security comes from. That's where my feeling of security comes from, not from anything that's going on the roller coaster. So there are many examples. The one that it lends itself easily to examples. The one that stands out most for me is that I was in Japan when the city of Kobe was struck by an earthquake, and we had a school in Kobe. There was a Didi there, Didi Nandamukti Vrata, who ran our school there, and the building wasn't actually physically knocked down, but it was damaged beyond repair. She was able to still stay there, but it was condemned. So I went down there as soon as I could get in, and so it hadn't been known that there was a fault line under the city of Kobe. So the government had no contingency plan at all for this. So and it was in the middle of February, so it was really cold. And what I found was that in Dee Dee's local area, some of the neighbours had very quickly responded. This was only the second day after it, and so some of the neighbours had already set up kitchens to feed people, to give them a hot meal at least once a day, while other of the people in the neighbourhood, they were still in a daze. It still hadn't really, they hadn't absorbed the shock. And so what that to me was a very real lesson in Santosha, that those people who had immediately been able to turn towards the overall needs of that situation and see that people needed basic necessities, and to be able to organize the community to make sure that everybody was getting what they needed in a situation where there's no help coming. It took a whole week actually for the government to get organized to come and do something significant there. So to me, that was a very good example of Santosha, those whose minds, their security wasn't based on their possessions in life, even though their house had been destroyed. Everything that they had, they'd worked so hard to achieve, that was all invested in their house and their possessions, that was all in a few minutes was wiped out. But they weren't devastated by that. They were still, the essential them was operating at a higher level. That to me that's Santosha. Anybody got anything else to say about Santosha? Okay, then what comes next? Tapa. Anybody like to have a go at tapa?
To give your time in service regularly?
Yeah, good. That's right. So it doesn't matter where you are.
And also have like,
go on, Didi.
When you know something is a good thing to do, even though it's a bit challenging, but you sacrifice your desires, your other desires, to help out. So it comes with a spirit of giving yourself.
Right. So I did put that question in the class material for today at the end. What is the underlying spirit of tapa? So the way I like to explain it is that behind all existence is this strong intent of benevolence, a strong intent that this existence should thrive and flourish and develop to the greatest extent, which means to its fullest realization. So the spirit of tapa is to understand and to say that I'm at my best when I can be an agent of that intent of goodwill in this universe. So that intent of goodwill flows through me without any resistance, and I can be its expression in this world. So tapa actually asks you to find areas where you can do service regularly, say on a weekly basis, to make that a regular feature of your life, a regular feature of your sadhana. And so this word sadhana is what we use in Ananda Marga, and so sadhana we often think of it exclusively as meditation, because it can be, so the word sadhana can mean meditation, have you done your sadhana yet? I mean, if somebody says that, have you done your meditation yet? But there's a huge amount of drop-down menus from sadhana, all of the things that need to be in place for you to be able to do sadhana. Like we said in the beginning, that without Yama Niyama, it's very difficult to do meditation, because Yama Niyama is the practice of composing your consciousness into a state that's possible, that makes it possible to do meditation. So if your mind is not composed like that, then you can't do meditation. So so tapa is an important element, in that tapa gives us the opportunity to practice being an expression of that benevolence that is behind this whole universe. And that's a very good training for the mind. Okay, so next up comes Swajaya, I do believe. Anybody like to have a go at Swajaya? Just in a word or a sentence, what do you understand by Swajaya?
Swadhyaya is very important to try and do daily, to do some sort of spiritual reading, which could include Baba's books. And also we often do Dhamma Shastra. We do the Swadhyaya after Dhamma Chakra as well, collectively.
Yeah. Good. So what is the effect of Swajaya?
Satsang for the mind.
Yeah. So it gives the mind something edifying, something uplifting, because again it's a proactive, it's a practice, it's proactive, because in all of the encounters that we have, in all of the interactions with this vibrational world that we exist in, very little of it is going to have real uplifting value for the mind. So it's really up to us to be proactive, to make sure that on a daily basis, either through reading something uplifting, it could be philosophy, or it could be an inspiring biography or something like that, or it could be satsang, it could be just meeting with people who share the same kind of values and whose company and conversation we find uplifting. So that's Swajaya. And then last of all comes Ishvara Pranidhan. Anybody like to have a go?
I'm looking at the chart I have. It says to accept the cosmic consciousness as the only ideal of life.
Yeah, okay. So that's recognizing what is the destiny of all things. So practically speaking, the practice of Ishvara Pranidhan is, when we do meditation, we're spending quality time in Ishvara Pranidhan, because we put aside the whole bandwagon that is our normal reality, and we withdraw from that, and we turn our consciousness towards its source, and we understand that the source of our consciousness is limitless consciousness, and that is our meditation. So we are associating our mind directly with that limitless consciousness. But we can also practice Ishvara Pranidhan even when we're not doing meditation. Like if we are doing some activity that doesn't require the immediacy of our presence of mind, like driving a car, instead of the mind just randomly going where it will, you can remember your mantra, or you can sing a bhajan, or listen to uplifting spiritual music or songs. So that's all Yama Niyama. And as I say, it's good when you reflect on Yama Niyama or any of the elements of this course, that you try to personalize it. You be conscious that you are going through this material with the intention of teaching it. And when you do that, it will make you more conscious of the challenge of explaining it to other people, because you already know it yourself. But knowing it yourself and being able to effectively introduce it to others are two different things. So you'll be more alert for personal examples, metaphors, and be alert for those things. Write them down. That's gold for teaching. And share them with the rest of us. If anybody has anything that comes up during the week in relation to being a better understanding or illustrating any of the points that we are that we're dealing with, then let's have a little section for that. Okay, that's Yama Niyama. The other thing we need to introduce today is Bhavanam Kevalam meditation. This is the meditation that we're going to be doing throughout this course, with the exception of the first week, in which we did the deep relaxation. But from the second week, we will be doing Bhavanam Kevalam meditation. So we're all so familiar with Bhavanam Kevalam, but when you teach it to somebody, when you introduce it to somebody, you need to think for them. You have to give them something, some way that when they sit down and they follow the instructions that you've given them, that has to be sufficient for them to be able to get absorbed in that, because the mind will always go to whatever it finds the most compelling. And you've got all of these thoughts, you've got the momentum of your mind on standby, ready to pick up any slack and run off downstream. So the way that you explain meditation to people needs to give them something compelling to work with. So very often Bhavanam Kevalam is just given as the mantra with the translation, love is all there is. And good luck, go for it. But we need to go a little bit further than that. And so what I've given you there in the class material is a way to explain it, and that gives people a little more to work with. Has anybody read it and given it a go yourself?
No.
Sorry, Judy, were you saying something?
I just said no, I hadn't read it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm sending out a week in advance the class materials. So do go through it, because this will cue you up for the next class, and the next class you'll get a lot more value from it. And again, as I said, when you have it in your mind that you're doing this course, you're doing this training to teach these lessons, then you'll find that things will start to come in your mind. Ways to explain things will just pop in your mind, just like that. So, yes, so please do at the, I'll be sending out this evening after this, I'll be sending out next week's material. So do in the next few days go through it and come with some with some nuggets that you've picked up. When I'm doing these classes here in Anandapali during the Working Bee retreats, always after meditation, I always ask people to share. You know, it doesn't matter if the meditation was from start to finish was just a struggle. Just share that. And so what I found for myself anyway in doing that, the effect of doing that is that it makes me more aware in my meditation when I'm drifting off, because I know, well, I've got to account for this at the end. So I don't enjoy the luxury of just sitting there with my eyes closed and drifting off. So, yeah, Jyotish will attest to that. It's always, we always have to, I mean, you don't have to, but I always ask people to share how the meditation was. Alrighty then, so Bhavanam Kevalam, right. So I always start with live in the moment, because everybody's familiar with that. And everybody knows that there's a kernel of wisdom in there somewhere, live in the moment. But if you ask people, well, what does it actually mean, live in the moment? People usually, the standard explanation is that whatever you happen to be doing in the moment, you just focus on that, just be present with that. And it just, it just sounds like a lot of cliches, because if you try it, if you're driving along in your car and you think, oh, this would be a good time to practice living in the moment. So I need to be just here in the moment. So then, you try to be present in the moment. So what am I seeing? I'm seeing road, car, tree, bird, cloud. After a while, your mind is going to turn to something else. You're going to start thinking about where you're going, what you need to do, or you're going to start thinking about where you just come from and what happened there, or whatever. Because the mind isn't going to find that any more valuable or compelling to be just looking at randomly at what's passing by. So that doesn't really, but at the same time you sort of have a feeling that there is a kernel of wisdom there, but I'm just not getting it. And people are not explaining it right. So what actually is living in the moment? What living in the moment is, it's going to the place before I think anything, before I feel anything, before I'm doing anything, I exist. And I exist not because of anything that I do or think. I exist because of the presence in my life of unconditional and tireless benevolence and support every moment. And here, has anybody got a time check? Because I don't want to drift off too much.
So 8:33 data.
8:30. Okay. So I think it's worth dwelling a little bit on this, because we are this is really the essence of this whole course. It's to get people in doing Baba Nam Kevalam meditation and setting them up so that they can actually feel what they're doing. So just to give you a sense of what is going into the moment. Some of you might remember Tamagotchi, that little egg thing, digital egg thing that kids used to have. And so it was a little game, a very simple game. And so the idea was there's this little chicken, digital chicken on the screen. And that chicken will beep when it has needs that need to be fulfilled. So it could be that it needs to be played with, it could be that it needs medicine, or it could be that it needs food. So I think there were 3 basic needs. And so you had to keep that chicken alive, because if you neglected it for too long, if it went for too long without any of those needs being met, then the thing would die. So it was the bane of teachers. It came from Japan, and it was a craze there, but there was the bane of teachers who was banned from the classroom, because every few minutes beep, 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 and kids immediately dive into their bag and take out their Tamagotchi and take care of it like it was a real pet. But so here's this thought experiment. First of all, how long could you keep that Tamagotchi alive? So I'm going to short circuit this just for the sake of time. You could probably, I think most people could, if they're really dedicated to it, they could keep it alive for the length of the life of the battery, or whatever that is, a couple of years. So then the next follow-up question to that is, if that Tamagotchi was in your mind, if its existence was in your mind, that little digital chicken, and being in your mind means that it only exists as long as you think about it. As soon as you stop for a moment thinking about it, it's gone. Its existence depends entirely on your thinking about it. How long do you think you could keep it alive? So usually, I mean, the answers range from, the ridiculous, like, I'd probably keep it alive for a week, So, what you're saying is that you could think of nothing else, only that thing, steadily for a week. Obviously, that's not the right answer. And some people think, I could probably keep it alive for a minute. At a minute, you would be doing exceptionally well. If you answered a couple of seconds, you're right. Because your mind would certainly waver within a few seconds. And as soon as the mind wavers, it's gone. Boom, poof. So your existence doesn't depend on you thinking about it. If it did, you'd be gone in a second, in an instant. So there's something else that is behind tirelessly supporting your existence. Every moment. So living in the moment means simply basking in that love that is supporting your existence every moment. So that's where we want people to be with Baba Nam Kevalam. We want them to be feeling or straining to feel that, and understanding that that's the reality of every single moment. I've also suggested, because the mind has energy, of course that standby mind has momentum, and it's going to come and take the consciousness downstream again to more mundane thoughts and more mundane and familiar things. So we can create a backstop in our meditation to keep the meditation there where we want it. So I suggested as a backstop that you think of your thoughts, those thoughts that are so energetic and want to run off to more familiar things. You think of them as children. They are your children. They're the children of your mind, the children of your consciousness. And you just coax them to sit around you and you explain to them what you're doing, what we're all doing here. We're doing this meditation, and you explain to them, you enchant them with this idea, this understanding of where they come from, this limitless love. This is our time, this is our quality time to just bask in the limitless love that is behind you all the time. Did you ever feel that? Did you ever see that? Well, this is the chance now. Let's all do it together. So you get your thoughts all involved in this effort to do meditation together. So that's Bhavanam Kevalam. It's a lot more than just, throwing out the mantra and the explanation, the literal explanation. We need to give people something more substantial for their understanding. First of all, by explaining about living in the moment, what that really means. And then secondly, we need to give them something substantial for the actual practice of it. So that's why basking is a very good image here, because just like the body, the body comes from the sun. All of the minerals that make up this physical body, they were all forged in the sun. So this physical body is of the sun. So the body loves to bask in the sun. It feels an affinity with the sun. The mind comes from limitless consciousness, that unconditional love, that tireless benevolence. That's where the mind comes from. That's the home field of the mind, and the mind loves to bask in that limitless consciousness, that unconditional love. And that's what Bhavanam Kevalam meditation is. It's basking in existential glory. And so, of course, there are two parts to the practice. One is the chanting. And so why the chanting? Because music, chanting, that engages the vocal cord, the ears. So we're actually engaging some of these organs that normally the mind associates with relating us to this external world. But now they are relating us to that deeper reality that we want to embrace. So we don't actually, and I usually don't, I haven't, I think, ever introduced the dancing kirtan. It's always, we do our kirtan sitting in a circle. You're free to experiment when you're doing your classes. In fact, the more that you can engage of the, your physical body is your limbs as well are organs that normally are taking you and into this world and helping you to do your stuff out there. When you dance Bhavanam Kevalam, then your limbs are bringing you into a flow of, towards that limitless consciousness. So there's good, there's certainly a good case to be made for teaching the whole kirtan dance from the start. So that's Bhavanam Kevalam. Anything to add to that?
How long should your Bhavanam Kevalam be, Dada?
I've given in the notes for the first week, I gave a class schedule, and I think the Bhavanam Kevalam is 10 minutes. You can check that. But certainly for the beginning, it's starting off with not too challenging a span. 10 minutes is enough, certainly, for the first few weeks.
Dada,
Yeah?
I'm going to say namaskar. I'm falling asleep.
Okay.
See you next week.
Namaskar.
Yeah.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
And Dada, do we do it with breathing or not?
No, the Bhavanam Kevalam, I don't introduce breathing for the Bhavanam Kevalam, no.
Okay.
So breathing is just normal. I don't mention anything about the breathing. So when you actually sit and apply your mind to meditation, the breathing naturally goes into longer, deeper cycles. So I mean, when I, of course, when we teach first lesson, then breathing comes into it then, but I generally don't. I mean, it's up. I'm not saying that you have to follow that, but I don't do it. I think it's enough. I'd prefer people to concentrate on the ideation that I give them, and I don't like to give too many things for people to think about it. I like to give them one good ideation to focus on.
And certainly doing the chanting beforehand, what, for 5-10 minutes would be calming for the mind?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And the same thing so you give the explanation, of course, before they do the chanting, and you say, first we'll get into the feeling of it by chanting, and then we'll just sit quietly and we'll continue that that feeling. One thing that I introduce actually, I think yes, in this second session, is I always tell people, and I reiterate it throughout the course, that there are two parts to meditation, and this is important because most people are familiar if they've done meditation at all, it's only pratyahara, it's only withdrawal. That's all they've done. Whether it's focusing on the breathing or whatever it happens to be, it's a practice of pratyahara. It doesn't go to the second part of meditation, which is that withdrawn mind. What do you do with it? You turn it towards its source and you associate it with its source. That is where the real business of meditation happens. So people need to understand that Ananda Marga is giving that second dimension of meditation, that there are two parts, two dimensions to meditation, and they're getting a good second part to meditation with Bhavanam Kevalam. With most meditations, they're getting nothing. They're not even. They don't even have the understanding that there is a second part. And the reason for that is because meditation, just like yogasanas, it came into a very commercial-minded Western world. And so people were interested in the meditation because meditation gives you some respite from all of that busyness and stress of life. And people want respite from that because they want to go back in there more refreshed, more effective, and able to achieve their goals, whatever goals they feel they need validate themselves by achieving. So that's why they only understand the first part. They don't have any need for the second part. They don't understand its value. So we're introducing that second part, and also in the context that, like, initially when I introduced this course in an email, like there was an explanation of why I think it's relevant that we do this now. And the context is that we are entering into times of turmoil. We're already there. Like, if you look at the petrol prices, the knock-on effect that's going to have on everything, the price of things, the price of everything, and down the line, further down the line, the unavailability of fertilizers and all of the other derivatives of petrochemicals that come from the Middle East. The knock-on effect of their unavailability is going to affect the availability of food. We are entering into times of uncertainty, and in those times people are actually looking deeper, and so that's why I say we have to meet them halfway. We have to meet them there and say, we're offering them that depth that they are seeking. So Bhavanam Kevalam meditation is giving people the full scope of meditation. So the first part, you could say the chanting is giving people some, it's getting them a little bit of detachment from the way the mind normally operates. Their music can immediately change the flow of the mind, and the chanting, the meaning of the mantra. And so that helps with the withdrawal. But then when they sit to do meditation again, offer them a visualization that, imagine you're sitting on top of a mountain, and the more that you can actually get the feeling of sitting on top of the mountain, the more it will create deeper composure in your mind, because what's happening is that you're seeing all around you, you're seeing the vastness stretching out all around you, and that evokes something deep inside of you. Something deep inside of you resonates with that vastness, and so you're touching and drawing that out. And what is it inside of you that resonates with vastness? It's that sense in the core of your heart that I am limitless. So just giving them that little pratyahara step of visualizing you're sitting on top of the mountain. Try to get the feeling of sitting on top of a mountain. Try to evoke that. And then the sense that all around of you is just this limitless consciousness. Every moment it's creating me, every single moment, and I'm just basking in my existential joy, bliss, consciousness that this love, this limitless love, I'm the bullseye target of all of the unconditional love in the universe. And then you can use that backstop if the mind starts drifting, and all of those thoughts, bring them back like your children, sit them around and explain to them how to do the meditation, and enchant them with the idea of doing the meditation with you. So that's all for this week. And all the best to next week. Yama Niyama asanas. Yeah. So I'll be sending out the class material tonight itself for next week, and do go over it, and do go over this week's material as well. What I sent out last week, because really, there's a lot of important stuff there. There's all of the material about Bhavanam Kevalam, that's really important. Okay, so shall we finish off with some kirtan? Anybody? Didi, have you got a guitar handy? Okay, maybe I'll do it. Namaskar, everybody.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dada.
Thanks, Shukadev, for your yoga.
No worries. Maybe next time I need to warm up and not eat beforehand.
I haven't eaten yet. I'm starving.
Oh, enjoy.
Thanks.
You did very
Namaste.
well, Sukadeva, doing the shoulder stand.
Oh my God! I had nachos for dinner after. Oh my God! Oh, and that was compressing everything. I think I need a good walk.
That hot sauce coming back up on you.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, Dada.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, Vasudev.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, Deep.